Evening, everybody. Hey, welcome to this episode of the Note Closure Show. As always, Scott Carson, jacked up to be here with the day, and I am excited. Today, we've got a very special guest that I've been trying to get on for a couple months, and through either act of nature or sickness and health or whatever like that. But we have got a rock star here for you guys, and I think one of the best episodes we're going to have for the year to help you really propel yourself into 2024 in the new year. Who am I talking about? Well, she is, like I said, not only a rock star, but she's known as the mindset healer, which some of you guys, we need to heal those mindsets so you can achieve big things. She's also known as the manifestation ninja for entrepreneurs. She's the founder of Inner Power Daily. It's an international best-selling author, and she's also a host of the Inner Power Entrepreneur podcast, which is something you definitely want to go check out. All right. It's amazing. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the rock star, Dr. Amanda, the mindset manifestation ninja for entrepreneurs out here. Dr. Amanda, what is going on? How are you doing today?
What's up, Scott? Man, I love your vibe, and you have the best voice for podcasting ever.
Well, when I was going through college stuff like that, I always thought I'd be a DJ on there, and of course, being a big athlete, Sports Center, I wanted to be the next Dan Patrick. So the podcast gives me allows me the opportunity to itch that creative itch a little bit. You know what
I mean? I love it. It's great.
Well, so let's talk about how did you get into being such a mindset ninja? Working with entrepreneurs out there. Can you share a little bit of that journey? And I know I've heard your story. It's an amazing story. But I'd definitely love for you to share here a little bit with our listeners and our audience today.
Yeah, definitely. First, let's think about money mindset, because I know this is the time of the year. Actually, when are we not thinking about money?
Right.
I always like to start with everyone listening, thinking about when was the last time you thought about money today? Just scan your day today and think, what was my last time I thought about money? Every single person listening can go back and go, oh, I've thought about money multiple times today. And, for some of us, it might be, oh yeah, I've got tons of money coming in the bank, passive streams. It's awesome. For a lot of people, it's, I wish I had more. I wish I felt better about my money. I wish I never stressed about money. I'm seeking financial freedom, fulfillment. And so money is one of those things that is so fun to teach about and coach about, because you can have so many breakthroughs. And also because it's one of those things that it's an outer world, tangible, material form of your inner thinking. So the reason I started there is because my entrepreneurial journey, I was on the floor crying one night. I'd left my 15-year marriage having an affair, and my next relationship wasn't working. So here I am sitting at the empty basement. My boyfriend had taken all of his furniture out of the basement and moved out. And I'd spent the day on Craigslist looking for places to live, and I didn't have enough money to pay for anything. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be homeless with me and my 3 kids. And so I'm on the floor crying, and I'm really feeling very scared and very sorry for myself. And in some ways, I was like scanning my history, thinking, who can I blame? Like, whose fault is this?
Right.
And I was also kind of looking for someone to save me. And I was coming up with nothing. And I realized as I was scanning my history and looking at everything that had happened in my life up until that point, that I was in the center of everything that had happened. And I was like, oh my God, I'm the common denominator. I'm the problem. And this was a really liberating moment, and also a terrifying moment, because, I had that thought like, oh, wow, I'm the problem. No one's going to save me. I got to save myself. And so I wouldn't have used this word at the time, declaration, but really I made a declaration. And I said to myself, I am willing to do whatever it takes to have better relationships and make more money. In this moment, I was already on food stamps, and which I had a lot of shame about. A lot of my friends in grad school were younger people whose parents were paying their way for everything. And, here I am just going, oh my God, it's spring break is coming, and I've got to feed my kids beans and rice while my friends are going to Europe for spring break. And so I just I had so much shame and so much frustration, and my relationships were broken. It led me to podcasts, because when I made that declaration, I thought, I don't know what to do, but I know that there are podcasts out there that could help me with this kind of thing. And the reason I chose podcasts is because you could learn on the go, and they were free. And so I started listening to all the podcasts I could on double speed, and, washing the dishes, walking to classes, just any chance I got. And I was like, whoa, there's this whole world out there of transformation that I'm not learning in my grad school education. And that realistically, we've never learned it anywhere. And so in that journey, I started listening to podcasting. And at the same time, my academic world was falling apart. Professors were leaving the department. We had a lot of stress in our department, national news fallout. And I thought, I don't want to be a professor anymore. Like, this does not look like a good path. And so I decided, well, I love teaching, and all of these podcasts are done by coach type people. So what if I just take the leap and become a coach? And so I went for it. And then that first year, I went from food stamps to six figures. And so on that money mindset journey, I started to teach people how to transform their mindsets like I had. And it's just been such a fun ride since then.
Well, it's such a great thing to see people have that light bulb go off and make such progress. I get more tickled about students calling me up than they've closed on their first deal or they've landed their first private investor, because it becomes such a switch of like, instead, I can actually do this. And it's such a different, that's like the hardest thing to get people over that first hump. You know what I mean? And believe in that kind of stuff. And you talk a lot about this in the Inner Power Entrepreneur podcast out there that I love listening to. Can you talk a little bit about that and some of the things that you see are like maybe the biggest mind blocks of folks that they're struggling to achieve success or make more money?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You know, something, Scott, that really surprised me when I started working with people is that, these people didn't know I was on food stamps. I was ready to be highly successful. And I had set that goal. I'm going to six figures because I saw other coaches doing it. I'm like, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. And so I started to get these higher paying clients, and I was like, oh my God, pinching myself like this works. If I get people results to change their mindset, they'll pay me for it. Like, what? This is amazing. And just like you said, that first client is a big deal because you do believe in yourself. And so working with a lot of different types of entrepreneurs, I found it wildly fascinating that we all struggle with the same things, no matter what level we're at. And so the three things I'd say I most commonly see for people is fear, procrastination, and a lack of a system. And so that fear piece is huge. I really teach and believe that we are either in two states. One is fear, or the other is like love and flow. And so the way that I describe fear is my acronym, the future expectation of awful results. So when you're focused on fear, you're focused on projecting something into the future that hasn't happened yet. It's something you don't want to have happen. And so what your brain does is it thinks, I'm protecting myself from worrying about this, right? But realistically, what you're doing is now you're attracting to you things to be afraid of, because that's what your predominant thoughts are. Where the opposite of that would be flow, which is faithfully looking for opportunities to win. And so I love acronyms because it makes everything easy.
Right.
Yep. So you're either in fear or flow. And then the other part, procrastination. People really, really struggle with not taking action. And the reason that people don't take action is really because of fear and because it's out of alignment with what your zone of genius is. So when you're in a state of doing the things that you love to do the most, you will figure out how to get it done. And action is evidence of belief. So if you're procrastinating, I already know when people come to me and say, I need help, I just can't seem to take action, which is very common. I already know either they're in fear, so something is blocking them in their subconscious system, or it's out of alignment and they're doing it because someone told them they should, or they're, a lot of times I think in real estate, one of the things is people hear like, oh, easy money. They think easy, big money. So then they start this real estate quest and they don't stop to think, oh, I've got to build a business over the long term. It's not just a get rich quick scheme. And so then they get to sit and, do I actually want to be a business owner? Do I want to do what it takes to align myself with being a powerful entrepreneur? And when you say yes to that, then real estate is an incredible way to build your wealth, like one of the best. And so, I love helping real estate investors get aligned in their mindset, because you can make so much money so fast when you have those mindset shifts and let go of the fear and the procrastination and the lack of a system, and you fulfill the system piece.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. People romanticize being an investor based on what they see on HGTV or Flip This House or any of those fictional TV shows, and they don't see the years of trial and error and the marketing and the business, stuff that you have to put in place, because it's really running a business. It is not get rich quick. It's make money, but it takes time, and success is not an overnight journey by any means. I think everybody at some point who's been successful has been curled up in a fetal position crying in their basement floor at some point. I know I've had that journey in the past as well. But I think it really helps you build a little bit thicker skin and realize, way what I can do to overcome these big hurdles or mind blocks that we have. And like you said, I think the first thing is realizing, hey, the buck stops with me, or I'm the one that's responsible for where I truly am. I need to make better decisions with my time and money, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you said. It's that first thing starts with you. I talk about it as radical responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, are you willing to be radically responsible for your happiness, for your wealth, for your relationships, for your net worth, for you as a powerful business leader? And when you can say yes to that, everything in your life and business will go well, because you'll always be able to figure it out. Really, radical responsibility has to do with confidence. And, it's that decide, commit, and take daily action, and then recommit every single day. And, just like you said, that romantic ideal of even being an entrepreneur of any kind, I think people get that. They go, oh, I can work from the beach, or I can work from wherever and have all this time freedom. When in big ways, a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're starting, they work more than they did at their job. And so what people are chasing, and I think the really powerful why, is they're chasing freedom of choice. It's not even the money, really. Everyone here, just think about, or everyone listening, just think about, if today I said to you, who wants to be financially free? And everyone raised their hand, which 100% of people would. I said, okay, everyone here can be financially free right this minute. All you need to do is give up all of your possessions, go buy a sleeping bag, and live under a bridge. You're financially free, right?
Yes.
So it's not that we're chasing financial freedom. We're chasing freedom of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a powerful why.
It is a very powerful why. I think back to 2010, where I basically sold everything I owned, was basically living in renting a one-bedroom apartment, going from a 4,400 square foot house down to a one-bedroom apartment, and said, I just got to get out. Sold everything, lived in my truck. I won't say lived in, I traveled the country and stayed with friends and stuff like that for a couple of years. But it was one of the most liberating things to get rid of, because a lot of the stuff that we buy ends up owning us, and we think we've got to drag this along with us, and it can be sometimes impossible to keep that up.
Yeah. Oh, that's an incredible story. What a liberating feeling. Did you do that out of choice or out of have to?
So it's a funny story. You remember those Visa, MasterCard commercials, like $5 for a hot dog, $10 for a beer, seeing all 30 Major League Baseball parks priceless. Well, I'm a big into vision boards and manifestations, just like you are. You know what I mean? And so I literally said, well, if I want to accomplish this, let me write this down. So I got online, looked at the schedule for the Major League season starting in April 1st. Where would I possibly be? Just wrote it down. I didn't go buy tickets or anything. What was funny, and I started doing videos and blogs writing about the note business. Well, in a matter of a couple of weeks, I had 4 like real estate clubs reach out to me and say, hey, can we use your article in our blog? Or would you come speak? I'm like, when do you want me to come speak? And it lined up when I would be in that city on this magical journey. I was like, okay, God, I get the picture. So basically sold what I own and literally went on the road. And what I thought would be 30 weeks turned into 4+ years of travel.
Wow.
And just completely, it was, I call it like the grassroots effort of a politician, driving the bus across the country, kissing babies and pressing palms. But it was like that. And it was just an amazing thing. But literally, I was like, I can accomplish a lot if I don't have a lot of these things that hold us down, or these limiting beliefs. I never would have done it before, but I went through a bad thing. I went through a divorce as well. I had a partnership that went just kaboom. I could have stayed in my fear. I said, let's work on the flow and get out of this and get things rocking and rolling.
That is incredible. Good for you. And that's it right there. That catalyst for change. I think a lot about how our life falls apart to catalyze us in a different direction that's more aligned. So I say the loss is the gain of that which is more aligned. So sometimes when we're stuck, if we're not in a mindset that's growth oriented, we're going to think I lost this, and I'm going to get stuck on focusing on the loss instead of going, hey, what can I gain from this loss? What can I learn from this loss? What can I learn from this perceived failure? And how can I liberate myself into some new version of myself? Because what you just experienced caused you to grow, if you see it that way. So it's always about perception.
It was very interesting coming back after being on the road, and people are like, you are not the same person. Your light has changed from this dark cloud to this bright, just booming light to make things happen. And it led to eventually meeting my current spouse and speaking all across the country and just becoming the note guy, as I'm called now, basically just being an investor.
So
Now,
cool.
yeah, now I love what you do too. I get up in the morning. I'm a big morning guy, morning ritual, and you are a big preacher of the morning routine. Can you share a little about kind of what you how you start folks off if they're, they're not quite the morning person?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say this for some people, it's not necessarily about the time you wake up because some people just hate getting up early. They might be night owls. So it's more about the first thing you do when you get up sets your state for the rest of the day. So, I teach entrepreneurs law of attraction strategies that help them rapidly grow their businesses. Law of attraction is based on your state of being. So what your state of being is the way you think and feel about your life, about the world, about money. And so when you set yourself up first thing in the morning with an aligned state of being, and what that means is that you feel high vibe, you feel good, you feel happy, you feel joy filled, you feel inspired, you start thinking expansive thoughts. And so you want to do something first thing in the morning to set yourself up that way, because then every action you take after that is going to be magnetic to what you consciously decide you want. And the reason that most people don't do this is because they're on the treadmill of BS. They get up in the morning. The first thought they have is, oh my God, I've got so much to do today, typically,
Yep.
right? The alarm goes off and they're already like, I'm tired. I've got so much on my plate. I'm stressed out. And oh my God, I better get on it because if I work harder, then I can make that money and then I can relax, right? Those are the thoughts that people have. And so what's really important for people to know is that you can't have a successful ending to a stressful journey. Okay. If you think that you're going to create financial abundance from a state of impoverished mindset, that's an impossibility. So if every day you're having time scarcity, money scarcity, just feeling scarcity, you can't create abundance. It's an impossibility because the law of attraction magnetizes how you think and feel, whether you're conscious of it or not. Your most dominant thoughts are what are pulling to you your reality. And so I think about this magnetism where I go, let's set ourselves up in a high vibe state of being every day, raise your energy. And just like you said in that, when you came back and you had that, people were like, whoa, you're light. And it's like you shine a light in the world, right? And when you're high vibe, people are magnetized to you because everyone wants to experience that. And so I get people aligned first thing in the morning to make sure that they can raise their vibrational frequency, set themselves up to have an upward spiral day instead of a downward spiral day.
Yeah, for a lot of folks, it's a downward spiral from the beginning. It's a nosedive.
Yeah.
It's so hard to come back from, in a variety of reasons. But you're right. If you're it's hard to have grow anything fruitful out of a negative, or I won't say a toxic mindset in a lot of cases too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Which is wild that we think that all the time. People, one of the biggest money blocks I see for people is you got to work hard to make money. I'd say that's the most common for entrepreneurs is like, you got to work hard and there's never enough. So even when they start being successful, they still feel scared that there's never enough. I mean, I've worked with mega millionaires, multi-millionaires who still fear that it's not enough or it's going to fall apart. Something bad's going to happen to take it away. And so, when I work with them, we go like, let's recalibrate you. Let's reprogram you so that you can enjoy the success and keep attracting more. When you enjoy the success, you attract more. When you're afraid you're going to lose the success, that's what you create. You end up sabotaging. And so we have a money set point and we have a vibrational set point that we're used to feeling every single day. And so you want to play with just different simple strategies to up level your vibrational frequency several times throughout the day, starting with the morning routine and then playing with it throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, you notice starting to feel different. I feel a little bit better. The next day you wake up and maybe the thoughts aren't quite as intensely negative. And then at some point you notice when you repeat this and you start to reprogram yourself, you just notice, wow, I actually woke up feeling good today. And then you just notice these opportunities coming your way. In the real estate world, all of a sudden it's like, oh, you get an email from someone who says, hey, you talked to me 6 months ago and I'm ready for the deal. And you're like, whoa. And then that just starts happening without your intensely hard physical effort. You now are magnetizing. Of course, you've planted some of those seeds in the past and you've followed up and you're magnetizing opportunities because now you're open and you're available. And so, it's law of attraction for entrepreneurs is my morning routine. Very inexpensive 7-day free trial. It's an incredible program. The people that are in there, it's often to me, even still, sometimes I'm mind blown where I'm like, whoa, like this works. This stuff works because we're playing with universal principles and all we're doing is programming our energy for something different. And we're just energetic beings. And so because we're programming ourselves for something different, now we can attract success our way instead of attracting scarcity our way.
Well, and I'm a big believer too that if you make a few changes, you can really see a lot of rapid growth in business if you just change a few fundamental things. And I know you just had a podcast episode that just discussed this. Can you share with our audience, especially because folks are looking at, for a lot of people, they start shutting things down at the end of the year. Oh, I'll wait till January 2nd because I can't do January 1st because I'm hungover, but I'll wait till the first of the year. And I'm like, no, you got it. Now's an important time to put things in place so that you're rock and rolling come January 1st, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you've waited until January 1st as a business owner, you're way behind. Don't do that to yourself. And this doesn't have to be a big, huge ordeal, right? I always have a manifestation, how to set manifestation based goals workshop. And so I do that at the beginning of December. So it gives you that full month to start planning for the new year. That's a really important thing. I'm curious, when you say podcast episode, are you talking about the very last release or?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, just right out, because I know you just had your master class you just mentioned there for you.
Yeah.
And you just
awesome. So like recapping, these are 5 things you can do immediately to attract success in 2024. So number 1, schedule time on your calendar to align your energy every morning. And again, the resource, if people just go to lawofattractionforentrepreneurs.com, they can opt into my 7-day trial. There's 90 lessons in there in that 7 days they can see right away. So I want people to know that it's a good fit for them. I'm not one of those people that's like, I want to sell you something, you don't use it, you don't like it, and I'm still going to charge you for it. I go, hey, get in there. If you like it, stick around. And people stick around I haven't had, most people don't leave, because they go, wow, this is very effective. So schedule time on your calendar, whether it's my program or just making sure that you do something in the morning that gets you aligned. So the program includes, I give a daily lesson, a journaling prompt, a short meditation, and an mantra. And this is all done in 15 minutes or less because I know that we're busy. And if I say, hey, you got to implement a 2-hour morning routine, 99% of people aren't going to do it. Mm-hmm. Right? I might do that, but that's my choice. That's how I spend my time. And some days I just do the 15 minutes because it's enough to get my vibe going in the right direction. So schedule time on your calendar to align your energy first, because everything is created from your energy first. Right? And I think that's really important for people to remember. Remember this key takeaway. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If you don't like what's going on the outside, change what's within. Right? And what's within is your energy, mindset, the way you think and feel. So do something to align that first. Number 2, make sure that you set clearly defined manifestation-based goals. And when I say manifestation-based goals, don't set goals where you beat yourself up and complain about the goals you set because they're not actually aligned. So you really want to play with, are these aligned with my zone of genius? Are they things I enjoy doing? And realistically, I think one of the most important parts of here that you and I've talked about already is have a powerful why. Yep. When you connect a powerful why to your goals, you will take automatic action. You'll know immediately if you're setting goals that aren't in alignment, if you're not taking action on them. And if, let's say you set them for January 1st and January 15th, you're already flailing, reevaluate. I love you smiling there because you're like, oh yeah, people do this all the time.
I mean, the gyms are the obvious thing, or I'm going to write a book, or I'm going to make a ton of offers, or I'm going to, you insert blank what you want to do. And then if you're still doing it by the 15th, it's actually important with you. Most people, I mean, that's the thing is, accountability partners are great, but if you don't have something or don't have to see, we give up on that person looking back in the mirror every morning, first and foremost, more than anything.
Yes. I love that you said this because I really like to think about how you are your best accountability partner. If you are thinking that someone outside of you is going to beat you into submission to do something, you already aren't going to have it happen. So it's like, I think about in group coaching, it's somewhat accountability because you get to declare to people who are in the community, but you're keeping yourself accountable. No one outside of you needs to keep you accountable. You are your own master. This is what inner power is all about, right? When you are aligned in a state of inner power, you are a radically responsible person and you know that you are creating your reality. So if you're not getting what you want, then you change yourself. No one else is going to rescue you. It's not anyone else's job to make you have a happy life. Right? So it's radical responsibility and accessing your fullest inner power and taking action from that place of inspiration instead of fear. And most people set goals out of fear. They go, I'm not enough. I got to set this goal to prove to myself in the outer world that I'm enough. And then that's why it doesn't succeed, because when you set a goal that's beating yourself up from the start, it doesn't feel good to do. Right? So that's a powerful one. The third thing to do that I think is really important for people to set up, and I love this one, and a lot of people miss this one. I call it a DAD list, which is kind of funny that it turned into this acronym, but it's drop, automate, delegate. And so you want to do anything that drains your energy, anything that you're like, I dread doing this. I hate doing this. I'm not wanting to do it. I'm procrastinating. You want to create a drop, automate, delegate list and put a date on it. When are you going to either drop it because it's something that you were told you were supposed to do, but you don't need to be doing. We waste a lot of time doing nonsense. An automate list would look like automated emails. It could look like even having a time blocked schedule so that your time is automated. And then the delegation list is you find people you can outsource to who can do the things that you're doing at least 80% as good as you do. Yes. And you delegate to them. And it doesn't always, delegation should never cost you money. You might be putting dollars out, but your ROI is higher. And so it doesn't cost you money. So do a DAD list. And then number 4, this one's really fun. Add a 90-minute rapid biz growth session to your week.
This. I love this.
It's so fun.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so glad you listened to it and that you love this, because do you do this in your business?
I do something similar to it on my Thursday afternoon. I don't do Friday because Friday is too much of a let's go chill, have a 3-day weekend. But the Thursdays, I've done something definitely like where are numbers, how are things looking, downloads, all that kind of stuff. I actually do something like this, but it's I was literally laughing this morning as I'm writing, listening to this. Crack it up. I was like, this is ideal. This is ideal.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you for that feedback. And, since I implemented this in my business, I would say I've been doing something along these lines for a long time, but not nearly as clearly defined. So my honey works with me now. So we're, both life partners and business partners, and he's an ops guy. So he came in from corporate world as a VP of ops. And so he helps me like systematize, because that's not totally how my brain works. I love ideating and coming up with new stuff. And he's like systems.
But that's good because you balance each other out. If you were both idea, nothing would get implemented. It's like the fallacy of the E-myth that they talk about, of the book, that you've got to have those folks that help implement, or your yin to your yang, basically.
Oh, exactly. So it's been amazing to have him implement. And so when we sat down to do this first meeting, I felt so liberated. I was like, this is incredible. And so we've implemented it. And like we do Thursdays so that if we want to take Fridays off, so we do it Thursday morning typically. And then we have knockout time on Thursday and sometimes Friday. Sometimes we take Fridays off and travel. And so it's Thursday morning. And then we create, we go through our 90-minute meeting, which looks like you're celebrating wins. You're looking at your KPIs for the week. You're scheduling out issues. So it's IDS. So you identify, discuss, and solve. And so sometimes the solving is like, hey, we don't need to, this is dealt with. We don't need to deal with this. And then sometimes it's like, oh, put this on the to-do list and schedule it out. And then we schedule things out and then we start knocking out. And it is so powerful. I go, okay, I'm scaling this year, 2024, our goal is 7 figures. And I go, we have all the systems in place for it. Finally, right? Like before this has always been like one of my big goals. And I got to 6 figures in my first year. And then I've been plugging along and I've been missing the systems to get to 7 figures, because I'm like, I'm not going to work 10 times as hard. And that's not going to work. And so I've been playing with, okay, I'm ready to scale to 7 figures. What will that take as a solopreneur? And so I've added to my team and we're systematized, and it's like, oh, 100% it's possible. And so anyone listening, whatever, I know a lot of real estate investors are at 7 figures already, whatever level it is that you're choosing to go to, let's say it's 6, 7, 8 figures. You need systems. And this business growth meeting every week helps you understand and identify what are we missing, what's working, what's not working. So it's a very powerful meeting. And it's that concept of you got to slow down to speed up. So it feels, when you have a lot on your plate, it feels like 90 minutes. And that's an arbitrary number. It's just how long it takes us to go through things. And that's what we've identified that is the time that works for us. And so just pay attention to that. Do I have a time to work on my business and be really, it's funny, I always say the wrong things when we say on my business or in my business. Do I have time to work as the leader of my business, we'll say,
Right.
and not just be stuck in the weeds and just constantly busy work doing without assessing, is what we're doing working? How can we make adjustments to systematize and have it scale more quickly and more easily? So those are 4 things. The 5th thing is to, go to my rapid biz growth roadmap. So I know a lot of entrepreneurs in here, real estate investors, are thinking about how to scale a business. So I always like to give them mindset pieces and then practical actionable strategies. And so it's a really great mix of that. So they can just go to rapidbizgrowthroadmap.com. And have you watched it yet?
I've been going through it. And
cool.
Since folks are listening, we also do the YouTube video. I just wanted to share that because I actually had to pull up here for you. Just so that people say, you got the podcast up. There's always a good thing here. Where is it?
Thank you. Yeah, nice.
I just had it. Where is it? There it is. There we go. Which is.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Great thing. Going through it. A very powerful 7-day free trial for you guys to dive in and really just see. But you said something there. As entrepreneurs, if you want to go from making like 50K to 100K, or go from 100, 6 figures to 7 figures, it ain't changing systems first. You've got to grow in that mindset first, because 7-figure entrepreneurs are doing different things than solopreneurs in a lot of cases, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. It's that concept of what got you here won't get you there. And I love that. I mean, for me, getting to 6 figures in that first year, massive breakthroughs, huge mindset transformations. And then you go like, okay, now I got to have the 6-figure mindset. Now, what does a 7-figure entrepreneur do? I always love to ask myself those questions and teach people how to ask themselves powerful questions. So whatever level you're ready to scale to, just ask yourself, what does a blank entrepreneur do? And in this case, you could say real estate investor. So you could go, what does a multimillionaire real estate investor do? What do they do in the morning? Because success leaves clues. And I guarantee you, when I, on my podcast, would ask high power, wildly successful people what they did every morning, I would say, I can't say every single one of them. I'd say top 3 habits I would ask. I would say 95% would say morning routine. And the ones who didn't say it was just because they hadn't thought to say it. It wasn't that they weren't doing it. It was always
a given thing that they did versus the business mindset of stuff. But when I started implementing more of a morning routine, we saw a lot more success. I felt like I accomplished a lot more. My energy was a lot better off. And it made a huge change health-wise, first and foremost, more than anything else. And feeling healthier made me a much more successful business owner too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I really love about that program? It's like I do different topics for 5 days a week. So we've got money mindset, and then we focus on win-win relationships, and that's in every area of your life and business. And then inner power. So that's going to be mindset type of stuff, then money mindset, and then vision and goals and business growth. And so every week you're getting a dose of up leveling in all the areas, because just like you said, when you focus on the morning routine, your physical health gets better. When you focus on your physical health, your business growth happens more because you have more energy. And when you focus on having better relationships, you start to increase your money magnetism. They all are intertwined. Like we're a holistic being. And whatever your lowest common denominator of energy is going to be the thing that holds you back from the most wild success. So, I've worked with entrepreneurs before who it's like, oh, they might be mega millionaires, but they are unhealthy, unhappy, and doing well in their marriage. So you can see how those things contradict, and it creates resistance and competing commitments and competing energy. And then they can't magnetize success. And to me, success is holistic health, wealth, and happiness. It's not just like, oh, I have millions in the bank, but my health has fallen apart and I'm not happy in my relationships. My kids are pissed at me. Like, none, that doesn't work. We want to feel good as holistic beings. And, I think entrepreneurship, especially real estate investing, to me, I'm like, oh, what a cool opportunity to grow as a human and make buckets of money and help people in the world. Like win, win, win all the way around. It's such a good opportunity to make a ton of money. So, I think what you're doing is so incredible. And the people who will succeed the most are the ones who have their mindset aligned.
I couldn't say it better. Thinking back to our successful students, they're all rocking a good mind, or they've overcome their biggest, most successful come once they fix that mindset. They maybe they came from or they're working their 9 to 5 job they hate, and
Yeah.
that drags into their side. I'm like, listen, you gotta, if you're in a crappy mind, don't pick up the phone, be calling banks, or don't be calling bars. It's not going to be a good thing. You
Yeah.
got to change that. And sometimes it takes dramatic results doing some different things. Sometimes, especially around the holidays too, family can be a big stressful thing.
Uh-huh.
I always think about how people walk in, especially when I was married. Oh, how's that blank thing? How's your real estate thing going for you? How's that note investing, or how's that fix and flipping house thing you're doing? That we get from the
Yeah.
in-laws or our uncles or aunts, or even our spouses. Sometimes it
Yeah.
can be difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got to set yourself up. I think about the holidays a lot in that way of like those powerful boundaries of not letting other people rain on your parade.
Right.
So setting boundaries and context beforehand and just knowing, oh, hey, if I'm stepping into this situation and people might be naysayers, how am I going to choose to protect myself and set boundaries in that space so that I can be there and feel high vibe and leave and feel high vibe instead of letting people suck my energy. It's like that energy vampire concept, like holidays can be either up leveling for people or they can be incredibly challenging where people really suffer because they don't know how to set boundaries.
Well, but it's also too, you sometimes feel like the holidays. I mean, Christmas is one of my favorite holidays, but it also feels like you've got to increase your energy level because everything's going on. Everything starts back in October. I mean, not even after past Halloween, we start seeing Christmas decorations come out these years. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
We're inundated, and I gotta buy gifts for everybody. And that's like you said, you start thinking about the money
Yeah.
questions. I don't want to buy everybody, or where are we going for the holidays? And can I just hide out in my house and just watch binge Christmas movies on Lifetime? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think I love that you're saying this because I feel like if people are listening or having that feeling, let yourself do it. Give yourself permission to have a day where you shut the world out and you binge watch Christmas movies. Like that's part of what we're talking about exactly. That's like such a good summary. Do what brings you more joy. If you are doing what brings you joy, you attract opportunities to you. If you do what makes you more stressed, you attract struggle and scarcity to you. And so, it's the easiest thing that anyone here can just know right now how their future is going to look. Like everyone right now is a person who can forecast the future and predict the future and the only way that you can do that, and the only thing you need to know is ask yourself, how do I feel right now? And what is my predominant thought and feeling every single day? If you really get clear on that and you go, okay, 90% of the day, I feel overwhelmed and stressed out. That's the future you're creating. If 90% of the day you feel like, yeah, I love what I do. I love my work in the world. I create win-wins. I'm making money. I'm helping people out. That's what you're creating for your future. So all you need to ask yourself is, how do I feel right now? And that's going to predict your future.
I love it. Don't need a crystal ball. Just need to be honest with yourself these days, right?
Yep.
That's why you're a ninja. That's why you're definitely an entrepreneurial ninja out there. Once again, you've got an amazing roadmap. Let's highlight that a little bit for those of the listeners out there, because I know that our Note Nation folks out there, both men and women, entrepreneurs that are either full-time real estate or they're still working their 9 to 5, can take advantage of that and I say it's a Christmas gift to yourself in a lot of cases to really help you take that next step. If a success in the new year is something you're really focused on, this is something you definitely want to take advantage of. So, Dr. Amanda, take it away again on that.
Yeah. I'd say 2 things. Well, and actually the Rapid Biz Growth Roadmap will lead them to both. So the Rapid Biz Growth Roadmap itself is going to give you very clear steps about where you're at in your business right now. So I cover the 4 zones of rapid business growth. And it outlines them very clearly. I can't tell you how many people I've had message me, DM me, email me, be like, how did you know exactly where I'm at? I'm like, hey, I've worked with a lot of people and I know these zones. And then it teaches you 7 steps that you can take to scale to the next level. And they're the exact steps that I took to go from food stamps to 6 figures and the ones that I walk all my people through. And so it's just step-by-step strategic roadmap. And then you can, once you that, you'll know, oh, do I want to test out group coaching with Dr. Amanda, or do I want the law of attraction morning routine, or maybe both? And so the law of attraction morning routine is another thing I think that is essential for everyone here. So just law of attraction for entrepreneurs.com. Again, it has a free trial. I always give a lot of free value, and I'd say I use the art of magnetism to suck people into my world. And then those who enjoy me raise their hand and go, hey, I want to work with you. That's how the law of attraction works. I love sales magnetism, and I teach a lot of sales magnetism, which real estate investors need.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing: all entrepreneurs, we're all mind cases. You know, we literally are control freaks. We got to try to do everything ourselves. I love how you were saying the dad list to drop and delegate. You know, drop, automate, delegate. It's such an important thing with folks out there. I have these same conversations, and half the time with our coaching, it's literally mindset coaching versus the nuts and bolts aspect of it, because it all comes down to, like you said, where you're at, what you've been through, and how you overcome those obstacles along the way to achieve success. We all want to achieve things. We all want 2024 to be amazing. I think an article came out today, the 35 things that are going to change 2024. And one of the number ones was people living well versus just living wealthy. You know, instead of acquiring wealth, actually living well to enjoy life. And so many folks out there are just miserable, and you don't need to be. You can make that change just like that.
Love that. So true. Living well. Enjoy your life.
Amen to that, because they expect us to live a whole lot longer too. So you got to definitely enjoy a lot more there for you. So once again, guys, make sure you check out the podcast, Inner Power Entrepreneur Podcast. What's the best way for folks besides the podcast to connect with you, Dr. Amanda?
Yeah, all things Inner Power Daily. So my company name is Inner Power Daily, and it's this concept I choose, Inner Power Daily. InnerPowerDaily.com. And then my handles are Inner Power Daily. So everything is Inner Power Daily. And that idea there, radical responsibility, aligning yourself to magnetize success. That's Inner Power.
Exactly. So go out, take some action, claim your inner power, everybody out there, and do it. Take advantage of the 7-day free trial. You're going to love it. Trust me. If you want to do some big things, we got to start with us first, because that's how you can't feed the world with an empty cup. Fill your cup first, and then feed the world with what you runneth over. So go out, take some action, buddy, and we'll see you at the top. Thanks, Dr. Amanda.
Thank you.